Thank you.
Makes the world go round. Snap. What a happy sound. Snap is the happiest sound I've found. But snap makes the world go round. Snap makes the world go round. Well, I say it's crackle, the crispy sound. You gotta have crackle or the clock's not wound. Crackle makes the world go round. The line insist that pops the sound. The best is missing, there's pops around. Pop makes the world go round. Pop makes the world go round. Pop makes the world go round.
And now, introducing your host with the most, Mr. Greg along with Rick Brusuelas and Dennis Michelson. Now, let's get to the show.
Welcome to Snap, Crackle, and Pop. And I want to start off this week with a quick apology. I had my worst week of the year last year, 1-4. I only hit on the tight end position, to be honest. But for the year, I'm 20-10, so that's still pretty good. On the Pop side, we went 2-3. Dennis is now sitting at 14-19 for the year. Overall, we're 34-29, which is 54%. So we're hitting on over half of our recommendations. But we want to pick it up this week. So let's get right to the news that matters, and that's with our good friend, Snap.
Hey, everyone. And first of all, I want to at least give you the heads up that there are only two teams on bye this week, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. So make sure you're not starting any of those. The biggest news, and of course, a lot of us fantasy fans saw Puka Nacua go down with an injury. He's going to he was just such an awesome wide receiver so far this year. He had 52 catches. He also had 508 yards. What's going to happen now? Obviously, Devontae Adams becomes the wide receiver one. The rest of the Rams wide receivers are Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Kanata Humpfield, and Xavier Smith. So it's a huge loss. But look for tight end Tyler Higbee to get more use. Another big injury, Emeka Egbuka, Tampa Bay wide receiver. His hamstring had a hamstring injury. They're still testing it, or they were testing it today for the severity, and that would also give a clue on how long he's going to be out. With Godwin and McMillan, Evans already being out, although my understanding is that Mike Evans is returning to practice this week. So the backups there are Sterling Shepard and the two rookies, Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson, will be the primary targets on waivers. Also look for Cade Otton to get more use. Another big injury, Marvin Harrison Jr., the Arizona Cardinal wide receiver. He was in concussion protocol. The Cardinals also lost their quarterback, Kyler Murray, but Jacoby Brissett looked better than Murray, at least with 27 for 44, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Other wide receivers on the Cardinals are Mike Wilson, Zay Jones, and Greg George. Garrett Wilson also is out with an injury. He had hyperextended his knee, expected to miss a few weeks. Keep an eye on that by week 9 for the Jets. The Jets are just having an awful season so far, and losing Garrett Wilson takes away their biggest weapon. So start opposing DSTs, I guess, is the best advice. They've got Josh Reynolds, Arian Smith, and Tyler Johnson as backups. Avoid them all. DJ Moore was taken to the hospital after the game and stayed overnight for what they called precautionary medical attention. No other details. Until we get more information, look for rookie Luther Burden and Colson Loveland, along with, of course, Rome Odunze and DeAndre Swift will get more of the focus. Juwan Jennings, he revealed that he had 5 broken ribs, a high and a low ankle sprain, but that he'd been playing through it. Don't know the immediate impact. He played last week, but he only had 1 catch for 7 yards. So I would look other ways as well. David Njoku injured his knee. Harold Fannin has been outperforming him and will continue to be a key part of the Browns offense. Anthony Richardson, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, he had a pregame injury where he was doing band exercises and somehow fractured the orbital bones around his eye. Riley Leonard is, of course, the backup to Danny Jones there in Indianapolis. And a few other injuries. Fred Warner had really just a horrible injury to his ankle. He's out rest of the season. Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals defensive end, he had a back injury. He's day-to-day. Travarius Ward, the Cleveland Browns quarterback, had a concussion during pregame warmups. And Terrell Bernard, the Buffalo Bills linebacker, had a foot ankle injury. We are getting some good news, and we'll get to see CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin and the guard for the Cowboys, Tyler Booker, all returning to practice. Mike Evans, as I mentioned, returning as well. And George Kittle is hopefully returning to practice. But the biggest news, or at least what most people are excited about, Kansas City Chief wide receiver Rashee Rice is returning from a 6-game suspension. So with that, I'm going to hand this back over to Crackle. Greg, why don't you take over?
Hey, Crackle makes the world go round. It's the finest sound around. Anyway, I'm going to start off with a guy that breaks my heart because I love him so much. Matthew Stafford. You know, as the season goes on, I suspect choosing quarterbacks to sit are going to be more and more difficult. It's the case this week. Every quarterback in the top 12 this week has the ability to perform in the top 12 again. We know they won't all, but they all have that ability. Stafford I chose because he's on the road, in Jacksonville, even though they're an easy matchup, so was Baltimore, and he failed to make the top 20 against the Ravens. In point of fact, the only time Stafford has made the top 12 has been when he's thrown the ball at least 40 times. And I don't see him doing that against the Jags. I don't think he's going to have to. So now moving over to the running back position, I'm going with Kenneth Walker, Michigan State kid. Walker's just given up too many touches to Charbonnet in the backfield. He's basically an afterthought in the passing game. He has 1 catch in 5 of 6 games. And in the one game, the first one, where he had more than 1 catch, he had 3 for a total of 4 yards. Last 2 games, he's had 10 carries in each of them. They face a rough defense this week, too, so I'm just not sure I would even start him as a flex player. At wide receiver, this one worries me a bit, and we talked about it before we started the show. Wide receiver 20 is Hollywood Brown. With Rashee Rice coming back, you know he's going to cut into targets for somebody, but we also know that Pat Mahomes spreads the ball around. And Rashee Rice gets most of his work out of the slot, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster. And as a Lions fan, I'd like to see Juju Smith-Schuster banned from the league for his attitude and the things he does after the whistle blows. But Hollywood, he's fast. 4.27 40. Dude is just lightning fast, but he's not really used as a downfield threat. He's used more across the middle and crossing patterns. And, you know, guess who else does a lot of crossing patterns? Yeah, I'm not talking about Travis Kelce. He does. But Rashee Rice made his money doing those crossing patterns. So since he's back this week, I'm going to sit Hollywood because I just don't know what to expect. And I do think that Rashee Rice is going to demand a lot of targets this week. So now at tight end, I went with Jake Tongas. Now, I know Kittle may be back, may not be back. We don't know really, but it doesn't matter because Atlanta Falcons given up the lowest number of points to tight ends this year. The Dirty Birds, they're nasty to opposing tight ends. They're allowing 3.2 points per game to tight ends. I'm going to be sitting Tongas even if Kittle's out. Now, my bonus is also a tight end because I'm better at predicting them when they bust. And that's A.J. Barner. I hate doing this because as a Michigan fan, Barner helped Michigan get a national championship. The Natty, he came over to help us get that. He's just not a big enough target hog in that Seahawks offense to justify playing him when he doesn't get a touchdown, which he has done in half the games, but the Texans have only given up one TD to tight ends all year. So this week I'm sitting him. With that, let's turn it over to Pop to see who to start.
Thank you very much, Crackle. Had a good week last week, going 2-3, and two of my other picks that didn't make it, as far as counting, didn't hurt you. So that was good. I do apologize for the Devonta Smith pick. That was atrocious. Let's get to week 7 and Pop, and I'm going to take some of the low-hanging fruit that is out there because of guys that missed injuries. They're out of the top 12 at quarterback. Makes for an easy play. We saw Jaden Daniels come back and play very well on a wet night last night on Monday Night Football. But this week, he'll get the Dallas Cowboys, who I think the Dallas Cowboys should really consider putting one or more of their cheerleaders out on the field on defense, because at least they'd have a chance at distracting the offense. Right now, their defense isn't stopping anybody. Dallas, the worst against quarterbacks, giving up 25.3 points. And Jaden Daniels was quarterback 3 this week or last week. So that is good news. And he's quarterback 4 in my combined metrics that measure upside consistency and factor in more and more of 2025 each and every week. At running back, this is a tough pick here, but I didn't really like any of the other running backs that were outside of the top 25 to have a good week. So I went back to the guy that I really liked last week and gave me a point last week, Kamani Vidal. I knew he was going to be the guy, not Haskins with the Chargers. Indy is the 8th toughest, but Vegas setting the over-under 48.5 points. That is a juicy score. Kamani Vidal was RB9 last week, and I think 15 to 20 points for him looks like a possibility. At wide receiver, I'm taking a chance on this one because he does have a lot of guys to choose from. But, quarterback Pat Mahomes is now number 1 overall in fantasy football points. And I think Rashee Rice is going to have a big game back. Las Vegas giving up the 6th worst. They're 6th worst against opposing wide receivers, giving up 36 points. And Rice was WR2 after 3 weeks last year before his injury. And Vegas is saying the Chiefs going to score 34.5. So everybody is a good play this week for the Chiefs. At tight end, I've been struggling at tight end, but I'm going to take a guy who had a big game on Monday night and now gets to go up against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas yielding 14.1 points per game to tight ends, and I only need about 12 for him to make the top 12, so I'm taking Zach Ertz in another big over-under, 54.5. Here's the thing, folks. During bye weeks and when you have injuries, if you have to play a guy that's a little bit of a reach, do it in the high-scoring games. There's lots of goodie to be have there. For my bonus pick, I'm taking the low-hanging fruit, a guy that came out of the box awful, just terrible this year. But other wide receivers were picking up the slack for him, and that is the Chargers' Ladd McConkey. Indy, while they are good against the run, they're 4th worst against wide receivers, yielding over 37.8 points per game. McConkey WR6 last week, and I think he is a good pick to repeat this week as a good pick for Pop. Back to you, Greg.
Hey, that's our show for tonight. If you like it, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends because, as I say, it's much more fun to beat people who are in the know than those who are clueless. And if they ain't watching, they're clueless. So we'll see you next week. But tune in on Thursday night when we're going to do the Thursday checkdown, and you're going to get to see our pros versus Joes and our AI segment, which should be fun. That's it. Take us home, Rick.